Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dog Football Channel, and welcome to the World of Football podcast live on the Dog Football Channel. And we have a lot to discuss. Basically, we have the Premier League roundup coming up. We have the Bundesliga roundup. We have a La Liga roundup, and we have another, in my nicest of ways, in other news. So that should be very, very interesting. And we will also be paying our respects to one of the greats that we lost over the weekend. So joining me as usual, we have Mr. Josh Bell, who was on Stephen Featley's channel a wee while ago. Josh, how you doing? Oh, he's muted.
My mic was up there. My mic was muted. My mic wasn't muted.
How are you anyway?
I'll tell you start off a podcast. There you go. That's all I'm going to say.
That is fresh from doing an 11-hour round trip to Blackpool, and back we have Mr. Nathan Morgan, who is a very smiling Nathan today. How you doing, Nathan?
I am indeed. There's nothing like a good away day when you win 2-0 and end up having pure limbs. Absolutely love it. Football is back. Thanks for having me on as usual.
Absolute pleasure. We have the man who absolutely loves non-league, and it is an absolute pleasure to have him back. It's been a long, long time since we have had Mr. Daniel Robinson from Football Is, and that is what I want. Dan, how are you?
Gentlemen, thank you for having me back on. It's been a while. Looking forward to talking a lot of football with you, so thank you very much.
Absolute pleasure. We've also got Reese, who is looking very, very retro today. How you doing, Reese?
I'm good, thanks. What I did, retro is the way to go. And that's all.
And we've also... And are we going to hear any Ollie outs today? Well, we'll see what happens. Mr. George Kyle, how you doing, George?
Very good, Doug. Yep, very pleased. Obviously, top of the table after week one, and hopefully that's going to be another 30. The same for another 37 game week. So,
well, we will see. Evening to Hella, evening to James, evening to Yeti Boy, Kian, and evening to Anthony as well. He's going ha 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 Villa. So. Let's start things off with, the Premier League roundup. The Premier League came back with an absolute bang at the weekend. 34 goals, which is the second highest ever on an opening day. So we will start with the big game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where I think before the start of the game, everyone had predicted City wins. But my goodness me, Man City's horrendous record at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium continues. I'll start with Dan with this one. How bad was City yesterday?
It's where'd you start? I kind of get the feeling that I may be a bit premature saying this. Are people starting to find out Pep the way he plays? This whole not playing with a striker. I think the pressure was there on Grealish to perform from the start. Nathan Ake, I still don't understand how Nathan Ake is thought of as a top defender, and Mendy. I don't even know where to start with Mendy. I mean, I think I've actually realised I could potentially do a better job for Manchester City than Mendy. It was horrendous. But then, I mean, take nothing away from Spurs and take nothing away from that finish from Son. What an absolute geezer that guy was with that goal. But yeah, the other thing I will say as well is I kind of feel like that was the warm-up for the new circus that will be the Hurricane Circus leading up until deadline day. There's a lot more to come from that. Me and Reese and George, you're United, aren't you, mate? So you'll remember the circus that was when we wanted Berbatov, and that went right down to the wire, and I can just see this happening again now. So yeah. I can see it happening. But yeah, for me, great start for Spurs, great start for Nuno, who I think a lot of question marks because I believe he was the 769th choice manager for Spurs. So yeah, good start for the guy. Good start for him.
Absolutely. Reece, it was Nuno got that spot on, didn't he?
Yeah, I was one of the few that said City wouldn't win. I had that game to be a draw. I didn't think it would be a simple win for either team, but I'll say this though: Man City were completely toothless. Like,
Yeah.
Every aspect of that whole selection was wrong. The back four was wrong. Jack Grealish was awful. Yes. It was great to see all the Grealish fans sat on their arse and watch how good he really is. Awful. I don't see him suiting this team at all. I think it was generally the wrong game to put him in. Like, if you're going to use Jack Grealish as a Manchester City player, don't use him against Spurs. The robotic style of play that's what it's pretty much going to be. It's robotic.
Yeah.
He's not going to suit against teams like Spurs. You're better off playing him against different teams like a Liverpool or Chelsea, where they're going to dominate the possession. They're going to take it head on.
Yeah.
Spurs, rightfully so. They were compact. The back four was perfect. Tanganga playing as a right back.
Oh, what a guy! What a guy!
Quality
As well.
player.
Strong, so strong.
Yeah, rightly so. The man's in the team of the week. He's rightfully so included in team of the week. Him and Chalobah, another young centre back for Chelsea. That'll make Josh happy. Shite. But it's good for Tanganga as well, because first game of the season, his first start, I believe he's only 22. His first start of the new season gives him something to be proud of. He's playing as a right back. He is versatile. He can play right back, centre back, left back. If I was Nuno long term, though, I would honestly put Tanganga as a centre back and drop Eric Dyer. He had a decent game yesterday, but he is not a centre back. Tanganga is better there. But I have to admit, even though they scored dead man walking scoring, I'm surprised he didn't die from celebrating.
Hey, Reese, would you not? Did you not think as well? Because I got to be honest, the biggest shock yesterday for that lineup was Doherty not starting right back when he was a Nuno player.
Yeah, I
couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I thought he was going to start yesterday, and to be fair, it's the perfect game for him. Doherty, he's quick, he's strong. He would have bullied Raheem Sterling. He would have bullied Jack Grealish covering in. It's just not enough to handle with, but I can see why I chose Tanganga as well. Tanganga is the exact same. He's just as strong. He's just as quick. Probably chose him because he's more defensive minded than Doherty. I think Doherty's more attack minded. But then again, Nuno, fair play to him. He got the selection right. He got the team spot on. I think Dele Alli has adapted to his style very quickly as well. The 4-3-3. Dele Alli playing as a right-sided midfielder, then he transitions into number 10. They go 4-2-3-1. Perfect. Honestly, I cannot fault Spurs for anything this weekend. Man City, shite.
Do you know what, though? Also, just a quick one, just with Grealish. Grealish joined City, and the one thing he said was, this is going to help my international career. I kind of feel like it could do the opposite, because there's only a few games before people start getting on his back and start asking, he should be doing this, he should be doing that. I kind of feel like this could possibly be the worst move he could have done.
We'll ask Graham Souness in September. We'll ask Graham Souness, because he seems to think he has to get 4 assists.
Oh, no. It'll be Pogba's fault.
Oh,
jeez. Why didn't Jack Grealish get 5 goals? Why didn't he get 5 assists? Why is he not top goal scorer?
Yeah, I was watching that, and I just just shop.
That man pure hates him. He pure hates him.
George, City's lineup, I have to say, it didn't include Kevin De Bruyne, and it didn't include Kyle Walker. Why does Pep always seem to overthink with his lineups?
Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you, Doug. He's just sometimes I think sometimes certain managers, obviously Nuno's now got an exemplary record against Pep Guardiola, one of the best, in fact, in the league in terms of triumphs over them. As you sort of spoke about, Spurs have got an excellent record now at the new stadium against Manchester City as well. So, and obviously I did say it would be 2-0 to Spurs. Obviously, a week ago in the prediction. You did. But I just feel like it's just one of those fixtures that Man City do seem to struggle in, and in terms of sort of good omens, hopefully for them not winning the Premier League. I think I'm pretty obviously most of the time when a team does lose their opening day fixture, they don't win the league. So hopefully that's going to be the case again. But obviously, as sort of Dan and Reese have talked about, is going to potentially expedite or the potential of Harry Kane. And the figures they're talking about are absolutely astronomical, which again makes a mockery of Pep Guardiola, supposedly claiming that City don't have the necessary funds to do these sort of deals. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that resolves itself in the next 2 weeks. But ultimately, great news for the rest of the Premier League, because no one wants to see Man City win another Premier League. So it gives all the other teams, including
unless it's Liverpool, going to win it. if it's between Liverpool and City, and City can have it.
I look at their run of games, and they've got some favourable fixtures. Man City coming up, third game. Obviously, we all know third game of the season they play Arsenal. I think at the Etihad, we already know they're probably going to steamroll Arsenal. But I look at the way Spurs played against Man City the weekend, and it seems to be similar to what Man United do. You just need to break that first press in the midfield. You break the first press, you've got City. Yeah. As soon as you break the first press, that's it. Yeah. Man City are done for. If they break you, like, all that passing, so be it. It's great to play football with 9, 10, 15 passes in a row. But if you don't score, then it's basically a waste of time. I mean, I remember watching the Argentina World Cup in 2006. 47 passes, at least they scored. Man City, 17 passes, they can't fucking score.
Yeah.
Says it all. Yeah. Like, as soon as you break it, they're done.
Nathan, there's one player in the City team who is actually stealing a living, is Benjamin Mendy. What an absolute shocking game he had yesterday.
He was absolutely awful. I mean, you could pretty much get any player from out of any of the 92 teams in the whole of the EFL, and they would have had a better performance than him yesterday. He was atrocious. How is he on so much? Mm-hmm. How has he been there for so long? And how on earth didn't he get injured in that game? It's a miracle.
I was actually waiting for someone to mention how long would Benjamin Mendy last.
Yeah. I mean, Josh, obviously coming to you, what did you make of that game yesterday? Like, Spurs completely had a game plan and it went to perfection.
Spurs' game plan was very spot on, and it reminded me of all the games that Manchester United have played City when they've won, where it was simply, let's City push every single man forward and just attack all the space and leave them behind with free quality attacking players, and that's pretty much what the Spurs did, and it worked to perfection. The City lineup was diabolical compared to what City could feel. Mendy, you've already spoken about, is literally one of the worst left backs in the Premier League, and that's not even an exaggeration. Nathan Ake has done,
he had to play a game.
Nathan Ake has done nothing at Manchester City. Diaz is starting to look a bit sceptical. Grealish was playing out of position.
Nice to see him playing dodgeball yesterday when that goal went in. Did you see the way he tried to just dodge away from the ball? It looked like he was playing dodgeball. It was hilarious.
Grealish was out of position. Ferran Torres can't lead the line by himself, and Sterling's form for Manchester City is absolutely diabolical. So that team was set up the field. That team was truly and utterly, the centre back combination. It just it just doesn't work,
guys.
I think
is that not? Look at it from this way, then. Is that not Pep perhaps saying to the owners, "I need Harry Kane. I need that striker. I need that striker to lead the line to sort it out." Is that not what that potential is?
It is possible. Obviously, they didn't have Phil Foden or De Bruyne or anything, as the false nine option. But Ferran Torres looked so lost up there by trying to lead the line. He looked completely. He didn't.
I just look at Guardiola, right, and I think, honest to God, see when it comes to football, he's a bigger hypocrite than Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
At least we know, right? Jose Mourinho, if he says he doesn't like a player, he will come out and say it, right? And he will say, "I need to go and get the ready-made option. I will go and do it. If I have to spend 50 million, 60 million, 70 million, he won't do it anymore at Roma. But at least he still says, if I need something, I'll go and get it." Guardiola, I've still not forgotten the 09 comments when he says it's not good for modern football how it's all about bringing through young players, but then I have to go and spend 50 million to bring in a player. Well, you just spent 100 million. You just spent 100 million on Jack Grealish, but you've got Phil Foden who cost you fuck all. But then you've also But then you've got. In all fairness, I've watched a few of their youth academy games when they played Man United. That Edozie, Delap, good young players. Delap's a striker. Why not? Why not give him a chance? Because it's the modern game, it doesn't work anymore. It's got to be by Harry Kane. He's a muppet.
Just to say about money, he thinks that we're going to see another 100 million spent on another left back for Pep Guardiola.
It wouldn't surprise me if he goes to Bayern Munich and goes, "Here, I used to manage you guys. Any discount on Alphonso Davies?"
Wouldn't surprise me if they went to get is it Mendes? Is it Nuno Mendes? They seem to
the Benfica boy.
Seem to be linked.
Lisbon. Yeah.
Seem to be linked with him. So wouldn't really surprise me, but I'll tell you something. City were just horrendously bad yesterday.
Let's just say, Diaz is starting to look. Diaz looked dodgy in the Champions League final. He looked extremely dodgy in the Euros, and he was caught out a few times there against Spurs. Ake's Bournemouth robbed City of 35 million for Nathan Ake. Mendy was awful. Grealish was out of position, and the front three was just so disjointed. Honestly, Spurs deserved to win that game by a man. I do agree with Dan. I do think there's a small element of Pep starting to be figured out a wee bit, because he seems so stubborn to that 4-3-3, and it clearly just didn't work, and he didn't change mid-game, and he needs to be a bit more.
But the one thing that really impressed me about Spurs yesterday, their front three, Bergwijn, Lucas Moura, and Son, I thought they really gave Spurs City a lot of problems yesterday.
It was a workmanship performance. I don't think they were incredible, but I think they just, all three of them did their job and just kept at City, and they didn't like it. Every time Ake was in possession of the ball, they were on him and didn't give him a second to breathe. I was quite surprised it took him more than 12 minutes to realise that Mendy's shit, to be honest, because I'd have been on him straight away from the word go.
Without money, Pep is just a Spanish Nigel Pearson.
It doesn't. The whole bringing through young players, the whole point of it now. I can see Keane's players listed, which he's replying to my comment. It doesn't work anymore because Guardiola is a hypocrite. He can bring through Phil Foden all he wants, but he's literally going against his own words. And if you're, he literally came through the Barcelona academy, which is about giving young players a chance, and he's a massive hypocrite.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I think the thing is that City will definitely have to improve, but they do have Norwich City next. So to the next game, I'm going to give this one. Friday night football saw Brentford win their first game in the Premier League since 1947. Actually, the first game in the top flight, I should say, since 1947. They beat Arsenal by 2-0. Arsenal were absolutely dreadful. Brentford thoroughly deserved to win. Dan, what did you make of Brentford?
Spot on. I've honestly, from the second they got promoted, I said out of three of them, they'll stay up, and they'll stay up quite comfortably. Arsenal, everyone's saying Arsenal being awful. I think Arsenal is just being Arsenal. I think that's what Arsenal are now. I do. I
have a new name for Arsenal. That Doug knows it very well now. They're called Arstead.
Yeah, well, they are. Honestly, I'm telling you something. Arsenal, this idea that they still should be considered as one of the big boys, they're not. They're nowhere near.
No.
They're a club that are run far worse than, dare I say, Manchester United. But Brentford, take nothing away from Brentford. They absolutely battered them. And Ben White, 50 million. I'll tell you what. In fact, I'm saying this now. There is a better defender out there they could have got for free, and his name's Phil Jones. Because I'm telling you Ben White was awful.
They could have got. They could have got a 31-year-old Jerome Boateng for free. Bayern Munich are letting them train at the training ground. He's available on a free. He might not be what he once was, but he's still a winner. He would have
spending 50 million on Ben White when it just screams. Let's be honest. Before we carry on, though, it is the English tax. If you're English, then it's an extra 20-30 million onto your value anyway. We know that, but I just look at it, and I think Arsenal fans expecting Ben White to come in and sort the defence out. It's not fair on Ben White, and it's unrealistic. As it showed on Friday. But please take nothing away from Brentford. Absolutely fantastic. Bossed it.
Yeah. Have you heard the new chant that's going around? Have you heard the new chant that's going around, Dan?
What's that?
50 million down the drain. Ben White concedes again.
Very, very funny.
Hey, Reese, and let's have it right. Some Arsenal fans mocking us for signing Varane as well. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I thought they were absolutely exquisite on Friday.
Yeah, they were. But how not to defend Nathan? The second goal. If that was a schoolboy team, you would you would understand why. But this is Premier League football. What on earth were Mari, White, and Leno doing for that goal?
Just complete idiocy, quite frankly. Just Brentford had them on complete strings. When I was watching it, building it up, I knew that they were going to crack once again. I was thinking, right, this could go 2 or 3-0 now. I always see it with Brentford in the Championship, especially where they tend to build into games as it comes along. And yes, it may be 0-0 at half time or just a 1-0, but by the end of the game, you could be losing 3-4, 5-0. We saw it where they absolutely decimated Swansea in the playoff final. We've seen it against us as well so many times where we just get destroyed in the second half. And they absolutely just cracked Arsenal. They're unlike really any promoted side that we've seen, minus Wolves, Leeds, and I'd even go out and say Blackpool. They are playing like they do in the Championship. They are bringing it forward. They're playing like everyone else, and they're really pushing and attacking teams for the wins. They have confidence through the roof. Thomas Frank is going to get them into a good position this year.
Good manager.
Fantastic. Moneyball is the way forward.
I just wonder if Arsenal will be able to adapt to the Championship as well as Brentford have adapted to the Premier League already.
Arsenal will get absolutely
Can I also touch on that before we continue? Also, it was a nice touch to see all the Brentford fans get up and applaud the director of football that sadly passed away as well.
Yeah,
a couple of years back. I thought, I'm not sure how long ago it was. So if there's a Brentford fan in the chat or anyone here that can correct me, because I can't remember, it was a nice touch to see that they applauded him in the 28th minute.
He was the mastermind from them coming up to League One, really establishing them itself in the Championship within a season or two, and then building the foundations for Thomas Frank. Well, it was when Dean Smith was in charge at the time, and then handing it over to Thomas Frank for him to be able to build into the Premier League.
George, I think the worst thing about for Arsenal fans is that Granit Xhaka has signed a new contract.
Yeah, I mean,
embarrassing.
Oh, you need that Tony Pulis video when he's there going, because that's what it is, isn't it? It's laughable.
I mean, Arsenal, unfortunately, are in such a mess. It's only getting worse. There was rumours, of that takeover by Daniel Ek and obviously Spotify. I myself, obviously, obviously, when you have a free Spotify like I do, they constantly remind you to try and take it out. But given the fact that Arsenal potentially going to get taken over, I just keep declining it. So
cancel that subscription if it happens. Just cancel it. I'm not contributing to Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah, that's my way of trying to avoid giving money into Arsenal, potentially Arsenal's ownership. But I think Jamie Carragher, was on a madness really in the commentary. I don't know if you sort of saw the debate he had with Ty.
That was the funniest bit. That was the funniest bit of the overlap.
Yeah, that was an incredible debate, and absolutely hilarious. Well worth watching.
That bit where he says, "Who's talking about winning the league?" And he was like, "We are."
I generally thought it was funny when he said you showed no respect to Arsenal, and Jamie Carragher went, "Well, me, Keane, and Gary, we all played against them in our professional careers. We know what they were like, so we're showing them respect." And he's
Josh, I mean, we did a tier list many months ago, and we actually got a lot of stick, absolutely a lot of stick about Bernd Leno being a poor goalkeeper. But my goodness me, what was he doing for that first goal? He should save it. He shouldn't be getting beat at your near post.
But Bernd Leno makes Kepa Arrizabalaga look like the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. Honestly, Bernd Leno doesn't know how to command his box at all. Honestly, Lee Grant would do a better job than Bernd Leno, and Lee Grant hasn't played a competitive game of football in years. Bernd Leno just seems to be. Don't get me wrong, he's never had a good defense in front of him. The thing that Arteta's been there for 2.5 seasons. And Arsenal still look like they have zero identity, zero play style, zero clue what they're doing on the pitch. Honestly, if George is all out when United are in the situation they are, God forbid, to hate what Arsenal fans are feeling like with Arteta. I just don't see where Arteta takes him. I don't know how he's still got the job. I don't know how he's got the job. I don't know how he's how he's got the luxury to manage in the Premier League. He's just so many better managers who do. I know there's some weird. For Arsenal fans are that desperate that they took a report from the Sun saying that Conte was going to go to Arsenal seriously, and they're all starting to get happy, which is.
The best way to describe Arteta at Arsenal right now. The best way to describe Arteta right now, and this is going to make Doug cry. It's like Liverpool fans when Roy Hodgson was manager.
I just don't see. You just don't see where Arsenal are going to go. You'd think with a full pre-season compared to the other teams in terms of the squad that he had available to him, you'd think with him being there longer than Thomas Tuchel and being there just near enough as long as Solskjaer, that there would be some identity to this team, but there really isn't. And he has to go. Do you know
what though?
No, he has to stay. He has to stay.
But Reece, we can't banter them too much because Arteta's bloody won something. We still haven't won anything with Ollie yet.
That's and you never will either.
Oh,
don't start because
we will this season championship.
You'll get Mr. Ollie out going here in a minute. So that's just
Just another very, very quick one on Brentford. How good was the goalkeeper David Raya? I thought he was superb the other night.
One of the most. He honestly was when he was in the Championship, especially for when Blackburn came up from League One. One of the most underrated keepers in the Championship. I always knew he was going to get a minimum of a Premier League move, maybe like a Brighton or a Burnley, but coming up with Brentford, superb.
Yeah,
just very quickly as well, Arsenal are going to really struggle this season in terms of scoring unless Aubameyang somehow regains some of his form, because over the past few years Aubameyang has sort of been scoring the goals that have kept them relatively safe, or at least somewhere nearer the top of the table. But now he's obviously failing. I don't know where their goals are going to come from at all.
I think
they're going to have to think of something. But if I was Arsenal, I would do the right thing and bin them both.
I think with Aubameyang, he in Arteta's first season, he played out of his skin, put all the work and effort, and got his big paycheck, and now just doesn't care, and it's just there to see out the money, and what will be his last big contract as a player. I think that's
sounds like Messi at PSG.
And also, you know it's going wrong at Arsenal when they basically made Granit Xhaka club captain again. What?
Can we all just to that? So your Dan's already talked about the 50 million for Ben White. They're still going to sign out Ramsdale for 35 million too.
So
are they though? Because I heard they've dropped that.
No, they're
back in.
They're still going for it. Yeah,
they're back in.
They're still going for it.
They're back in for bomb scare. Oh, that's going to be good.
125 goals conceded, 75 Premier League games.
Hey, he could break the record. He could be the first goalkeeper to be relegated with 3 teams 3 seasons in a row if he joins Arsenal.
And we are all begging on the World of Football podcast for Arsenal to be relegated. Get your bets in live on the World of Football podcast.
Imagine.
I bloody hope Arsenal don't get Odegaard. I need to laugh at Arsenal. To be fair, Abu, Odegaard didn't really impress last season.
I wasn't that impressed with him.
He doesn't fit.
The thing is, though, is you look at certain players. It's like Matt at Man United. There's no one actually making the runs for him. Odegaard had the same issue last year. He was in the right position, actually feed them through. None of them were making the runs. So if anything, Arteta, if he gets Odegaard, he has to get his players to stop being lazy as fuck.
Yeah. Let's go to Old Trafford, because I think we've got some very smiling Man United fans. They'll be on 5-1. Against Leeds United. What I'm going to say is Leeds haven't learned their lessons from last season. Poor defensively, so open in midfield, like Bruno, McTominay, Pogba. I lost count how many times they got through Leeds' midfield, and probably 2 great goals. Bruno Fernandez's hat-trick one is absolutely fantastic, but Luke Ayling's one is a cracker as well. But it was all the perfect start, Dan, wasn't it? It could not have gone better that game.
Do you know what? The only problem I had with that game was I was best man at a wedding at the weekend, and I had to stand there at the front of the church with my phone, like trying to keep an eye on the bloody score. So when the first goal goes in, it's all going on, and I'm sort of there trying not to go, get in there, and I'm like sort of just like, that's fine, yeah, we'll take that. And then when I got out of the church, it was 1-1, so I was like, but no, it was incredible. I'll be honest, when I saw the lineup, I was livid. I was absolutely livid when I saw McFred there, Dan James there, Pogba out on the wing again. I was absolutely livid. But at the same time, do you know what? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is paid to do a job, And what can we say? What can we say about him if he goes and beats them 5-1? I mean,
I see George's face.
We'll find out in 5 minutes when George.
George. I was exactly like you, mate, after the Europa League final. But do you know what?
Mm-hmm.
If he does this week in, week out, and also there's an interesting stat. Since Fergie left, I think we'd only ever scored 5 goals in a game. Was it 3 times, 2 times? We've done it 10 times since Ollie's been there. And I kind of feel like the players that are coming in, something's happening here. I'm not sure this season. I think it's far too soon, but something's happening. And if he gets it the way that I think he could do it, if he ditches this 4-2-3-1 and goes 4-3-3 and just goes for it, I think we might just start seeing something special. Might start seeing something special.
I mean, Reese.
Yeah, mate.
Ollie can basically not be able to change. Basically, the saying goes, "Don't change a winning team." Can you see any changes for Southampton?
A couple. For me personally, we don't play 2 games a week until the Carabao Cup starts next month. So personally, in my opinion, I would make 3. I would drop one of McTominay or Fred. With all fairness to them, they had a good game at the weekend. Brilliant performance, both of them together. Fred getting a goal, McTominay's darting runs. I would maybe drop one of them and I'd play Matic as a defensive midfielder. I think it's the right thing to do. Get an experienced midfielder in there on his own. You could afford to play Matic until we play 2 games a week. Take advantage. Put him in there. As much as I enjoy him as a player, Victor Lindelof, I would bring him out and I'd put in Raphael Varane because it's a proper back 4. Varane's a serial winner. We need that leadership in there. All due respect to Lindelof, he's a player that I admire. We've just went and got him one of the best centre-backs in world football. Get him in now for Southampton. And I would, in all respect, though, I would drop Dan James and I would stick in Jadon Sancho. That's all we need. Put the freedom in. Fine, we're going to beat Southampton 7-0 next week.
I was just going to come to George there because me and him actually had a big discussion about probably playing with 10 men, and Dan James looked like a rabbit in headlights again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There we go.
It's hard not to go in, hard on Dan James because
it's easy.
I think the issue with Dan James is that he has a very weak mentality. He often when you see him get the ball, it's like, as you sort of alluded to, rabbit in the headlights scenario. He really does look like he's incredibly scared and he just can't make a decision. So he'll often like rush a shot or rush a pass and lose it. His decision making is very, very poor as well. And yeah, as I said, Dan James is a player that we definitely do need to get out of the team for Jadon Sancho. I felt like, comparatively, obviously, Paul Pogba was absolutely superb. Particularly obviously further up the field and, with his passing creation and, Dan James, it seemed like when we had our flurry of goals in that second half, what was good about it was that Dan James was totally bypassed. I couldn't actually remember that Dan James was playing because they literally, all those goals bypassed him. In fact, Bruno Fernandes, obviously on the goal that Lindelof set up for him, ran into a channel that Dan James really should have been running into, the sort of right-hand channel of the box. So as I said, Dan James was, but as we know with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he does like his certain players, his favourites. It's not necessarily to do with talent, but he does like Dan James. So I could, and whether he's going to make changes or not, it remains to be seen. But it was a phenomenal win. Paul Pogba, like I said, was exemplary. So was Bruno. I think both of them are outstanding, and I think having both of them higher up the field, because I'm obviously a massive fan of Paul Pogba. He is my favourite player at United, and I think just having him sort of more in the offensive capacity, just because his vision and passing is peerless. It's just ridiculous, and obviously brilliant as well for Mason Greenwood. I know he was obviously Souness's favourite player when he sort of did the analysis, but great for Greenwood. Superb finish. Ridiculously, amazing.
That boy is absolutely clinical. If we want to put the praise on Manchester United, Nathan, we have to talk about Leeds. What on earth happened? I mean, they were just. I said to a couple of people that they haven't learned their lessons from last season. They were way too open. Defensively, an absolute shambles. And I think they played the wrong team. They had no Calvin Phillips in there. They missed that stability in that defensive midfield role. I think they were overran in midfield. And, Bamford, Rafinha, they were really, really isolated.
Yeah, Leeds, I can sort of see it coming with their second season syndrome. Bielsa has introduced this style going into his first season, absolutely blew everything away. But normally, they always start flying. They are not starting flying this year at all. Their defense looks as open as everything because Bielsa's probably, with the way he's seen it before and with the way he has in the Championship, he doesn't need to put a massive focus on his defense, but in the Prem, he really needs to, and it just looked open as anything, and especially missing Calvin Phillips with that ball winning midfielder sort of in front of that four at the back. It just doesn't work for them at all, and they needed him in the side. But with Patrick Bamford as well, I think he is going to have a really poor season. He is going to be back to his Championship and his Middlesbrough ways, where he literally cannot score to save his life. And I think it's going to be a long, long season for Leeds, especially if they don't improve.
This is a very good point. When does sticking with your attacking principles go from admirable to just plain stupid? Not part of the bus fan by any means, but Leeds should have been more defensive going into the match. Yeah, absolutely. They should have learned their lessons from that 6-2 game because...
But hang on a sec. Let's just they won 7 of their last 10 games in the Premier League last season. You don't go to being a terrible team overnight. I think this is just one of them games. It seems to happen when they play us. Ollie seems to have this with some managers that he has their number, and I think that's kind of what this is, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. James Dunlop, I know you were about to say that. Leeds need to respond next weekend, and that's against us. Tough game that will be for both sides. Yeah, first game in front of fans for obviously Ellen Road fans as well. So, Josh, looking on it as an outsider, are Manchester United now title contenders?
It's a difficult one because I still think that Academ maybe could, over the course of a 38-game season, could potentially be a bit of an issue because McFred aren't going to play like that every week. They've played so much together, and 9 times out of 10 they play absolutely woefully together. So and Pogba on the wing isn't going to work as well week in, week out. We've seen against Villarreal. No, against Villarreal. Towards the end of the Premier League, he didn't play particularly well on the left wing. But Man United could be up there if they stay away from injuries. I think Ferran Maguire at the back, along with Sean Wan-Bissaka, it's a formidable back four. She's over. I said over the game, but their attack. Bruno Greenwood, Cavani, firing all cylinders. They will be scoring goals for fun next season. They already scored. I think they were I could be wrong, but I think they were at least near the top goal scorers of the league last year, or may actually have scored those goals. So I think they might have scored just more than City last year. So you add an extra more of attack into that, and you're firing all cylinders. Just to put it down, James, I still think Amad Danilo deserves a chance over Dan James.
Josh, you've hit the nail on the head there because they've said this week that Diallo is going to be made to go out on loan, and I'm kind of feeling like just chuck Dan James out and give Diallo that chance. He's quick.
I don't get the Diallo. I do not get that at all. Diallo for me looked really good at the Olympics, so I don't understand why they're loaning him out.
I think it's eye to the future. I think it's eyeing him with the future, like where he's still rusty to the league and he's not ready yet, so they're loaning him out. But I would get him in. I would get him in.
You say the same about Dan James, though.
Yeah, Dan James is a lower Premier League player to sort of top end.
No, I agree. I think they see more long term for. I think they see more Diallo long term.
I think Dan James could make it to mid to upper Premier League though. Looking at him for Wales, when he can do it against lower teams, especially where he is one of the best players in that Wales team as well. He gets his confidence in. He has an end product. He just needs to find that experience in the team.
He's a counter-attacking player, isn't he, though?
He's
a counter-attacking player. He deals better in teams that hit on the break because of his pace. Off he goes.
He reminds me of a 90s winger. He's a 90s winger. He's a traditional winger. I don't think he's built for the modern game unless he was working with a Bielsa, who gets that sort of winger. Yeah. I don't think he's... Or a Graham Potter or a Brendan Rodgers, with all due respect. I don't think he suits us. The only way I see him suiting us is if he goes out on loan for a year or two, comes back and proves us wrong. Because that's what you want. You want to be proven wrong. I just don't see it. I just don't see it personally. I don't see it.
My point on Dan James is the thing is he's been with Manchester United now for 3 seasons and he's done nothing formidable to stay in a starting lineup. Well, Diallo has came in off the bench in a few games, and in terms of international duty and for the under-23s, has proved I think he's got the pace, but he's got the end product what Dan James doesn't.
Elanga's a better player. Elanga's a better player. Shortier is a better player.
So for that reason, in terms of Leeds, I think Leeds playing. If you're at home to Manchester United, you could get away with playing that way. But going to Old Trafford to a bunch of fans who've not been to a game in 18 months against Leeds, and you're deciding to go out there and feel like you're the big boys and going to go ahead and attack this formidable team, it was done from Bielsa. He literally made.
They'll be nowhere near relegation.
No, they'll be nowhere near relegation.
No.
They'll be nowhere near relegation. But I feel like he can't go away to City. He can't go away to Chelsea. He can't go away to Liverpool with these, with their home crowds and attack that way. So he needs to. It's not the same as it was when it was empty stadiums. So he needs to learn and adapt a bit more. But I think, as I said, Leeds will be fun to watch. They'll pull off a few upsets, but Manchester United fully deserving of their win. And I'm sure Reece George and Dan, I'm sure you're very excited to see what the attack's like when Cavani and Sancho.
Do you know what, mate? Mate, honestly, this stuff in the chat about we're not going to win. You have to bear with us in the chat. This time last season, we lost to Crystal Palace. So, this is... we're in La La Land.
I also said after we got beat last season after Crystal Palace, we'd still finish second. So I want my recognition.
Hello, evening to Reese Bish in the chat. Swans away days. Hope you're doing well, my friend. So we move on to... let's move to Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea had a very easy 3-0 victory over Crystal Palace. The standout goal for me was Trevoh Chalobah, and I loved his wee celebration as well. Josh, perfect start for Chelsea.
Yeah, I actually thought this was going to be a more of a difficult game than it was. I'll start off on Crystal Palace first of all. I laughed because Ali Ali probably said this to you too when we did our pre-season series. He was like, "Oh, I'm so happy that I'm not going to have to say a 4-4-2 anymore." And what did Patrick Vieira do? He played a 4-4-2. Literally left the sack over Roy Hodgson played, and Palace were absolutely diabolical. There was no shape to them. There was zero attack. There was a zero plan on the counter attack. The front two of Saha and whoever the other guy was, I can't remember his name, but they were absolutely awful. The wide players were non-existent. The midfield was getting passed through like there's no tomorrow, and you could tell they were missing some of their experienced lads at the back. Mitchell really struggled. So Chelsea, Alonso, fair play to him. Credit. I hated Alonso, but his free kick was a really good free kick to give us the opening lead. Pulisic, actually, we goal against Crystal Palace, and as you said, Trevoh Chalobah's goal and the reaction that it made my heart kind of feel up at hot milk, because it was just like, wow, he's been with us since 8 years old. There's his debut in the Premier League. He's took his opportunity in pre-season, and fair enough to him. And it was a straightforward win. I don't think Palace looked like a League 1, League 2 team at best. They came, we played them off the park, we did our job, and we were able to rest. We were able to get some players on and get some minutes and some other players. And Chelsea also won 13-0 in our friendly on Sunday. So it was 2 wins for Chelsea. So Batshuayi scored 5 goals on this last game for Chelsea. So good. So
Nathan, are you worried for Crystal Palace, or is it too early to say?
I've been worried for him ever since that Roy Hodgson announced that he was retiring. He has stabled that ship really well in the Premier League, and he is a safe pair of hands for a club in the lower half of the table. We saw it with how good he was at West Brom and with what he did with Crystal Palace, especially with a sort of below par team as well. But losing a lot of players, crucially, Andros Townsend is a massive one there as well. And bringing in a lot of youngsters, fair play to them, but not the quality that they really need in certain areas. Vieira, I think he hasn't got the strongest of managerial CVs, but really he has got to watch out here, because he could see his way out the door before Christmas. And
Allardyce for January.
Allardyce in for January, and he'll get 2 relegations in a row unless they back him.
Yeah, I think it has to be said that there was a very, very good result for for Chelsea. We'll move swiftly on to Everton 3, Southampton 1. Dan, I don't know if you've seen Match of the Day, but what on earth was Michael Keane doing for that goal? It looked like he was nowhere in danger, and all of a sudden Che Adams takes the ball off and brings it straight to Adam Armstrong. And to be fair to Adam Armstrong, it's a cracking goal. It is. I think it. Do you know what? I'm gonna defend him a little bit here. A little bit. It's opening game of the season. I think nerves are there for some of these players. I genuinely do. Playing in front of fans properly for the first time, I do think nerves do come into it a little bit. Look, I'm sure he'll be fine for the rest of the season. I think it was so important for Benitez to get a win. So that is his. I tell you what, now that is his most important game of the season. That is, because if he starts with a loss, the Everton fans are already on his back. And I actually, Doug, I've got a funny feeling he's going to take points away from you this season. I really do, just because it's Benitez. I really, really do. Interesting.
I actually agree with that. I honestly think the first derby of the season at Goodison Park, I actually think he's will lose that game.
Yeah. Stephen Featley TV, thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate it. Sorry being here earlier, brilliant content, but thank you very much, Stephen Featley. I really do appreciate that. James Dunlop says, I was at Goodison on Saturday. Michael Keane and Holgate as a pair does not work at all. Whatever Rafa said at halftime, it worked, and he got a decent reception apart from two blokes booing from where I sit. Oh, jeez. Well, you'll always get some of them, won't you? First step of Rafa's master plan, earn the bitter's trust, and then bang, loses 20 straight games in a row as they go down.
That would be absolutely funny.
Did you hear what they were chanting as well about Ancelotti?
No.
They were chanting something about cheering when he dies or something like that. There's a video. There's a video. I don't know if anyone saw it.
Disgusting.
Oh dear. That's not good.
So this is really random. This is just for Nathan. My friends were voting in their Super 6 predictions for the championship games midweek, and they have Cardiff beating Petersburg 2-0. Just what you'd like. That was Red Hand who was in the chat.
I disagree because we always lose to them every single time. When we won the league, they did the double over us. I'm glad it's a midweek game because that's a difficult one to go to.
Doug, Red Hand, my friend, says, I'm in a Discord chat with him. He says he was only here to listen to us talk about the United game. Bye, and thanks for the podcast. So there you go.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Richarlison has kept up his form from last season. He's kept up his form for obviously the Olympics, but his goal wasn't the best of the bunch. It was definitely Doucouré's. What an absolute rocket.
Yeah, honestly, I don't care if Richarlison scores 20 this season. I still think he's overrated. But yeah, good goal by Doucouré. Good start for him as well. We'll see what he does this season. Christ, Benitez has got to. I'm just thinking about how shit Richarlison is. Benitez has got a lot to do this year. I actually don't know what he's going to do in terms of the shape, but he needs to get certain players on side. I think he organises that defence better than Ancelotti does, but I still think Ancelotti, he's still a better manager than Benitez, but I think Benitez is a better fit for Everton.
I felt Ancelotti underachieved. I thought Ancelotti underachieved massively, and I think the second he was given that exit, regardless of it being Madrid, I think he thought, "Yep, get out of here as quick as I can because this is going shit."
Yeah, he's left a sinking ship. He's done the right thing. I don't. Everton fans can celebrate losing Ancelotti, but I know who I would rather have as a manager. Simple as. But he is definitely the. I suppose like Leicester aren't used to exciting people, but they are now. We'll see where it goes from here. I don't see Benitez doing much with Everton, but in terms of just improving them defensively, I can see that happening. I'll still reiterate, it was a great goal by Doucouré, but I don't care if Richarlison scores 20 this season, he's still overrated and he's still shit.
Do you know what though, Reese? I don't know. And James Dunlop, you're an Everton fan, so you can perhaps educate me on this. I don't know what position he plays. Is he a striker? Or is he a winger? I think
he plays. I think he plays as a left-sided forward. I don't think he's a good. I don't think he's a number 9.
Yeah,
I don't think he's a number 9.
I don't. Yeah, I agree with you.
He's a bit like Werner. He's better cutting in from the left-hand side, except Werner's better.
I think James would agree with me on this. I think the problem for Charlton is he hasn't had a consistent manager to get a formidable system. Because Marco Silva played him as Marco Silva has played him as a number 10. Ancelotti kind of changed him from a two-man striker to a left winger to a striker to a right winger, and now it seems like and then Brazil at the Olympics and Copa de America he was playing as a left winger, and then under Rafa Benitez. So I think he is a really good player. He just needs to be in a consistent team, in a consistent position, and I think we're starting to see now what he can do with that consistency. And I feel like I think he's been a bit unlucky because managers have been chopping and changing him all over the place. But I think he is a very good manager.
This is actually the best comment.
Richarlison reminds me of someone like Zaha in that they suit being a big fish in a small pond. He's got quality, but he'd flop big time in a top club.
And this is what I think about Zaha as well, because I heard you guys talking about Crystal Palace a bit earlier on. I was sorting something out. When it comes to Zaha and Richarlison, they think they're better than what they are.
Yeah,
I guarantee. Yep, you can add Memphis to that comment as well. If you put Zaha in a Man City team, a Liverpool team, even if you put him to Dortmund, because obviously Dortmund were after him.
Yeah,
Zaha would genuinely flop in a heartbeat. Richarlison, he's honestly he's the exact same. He thinks he's that sort of player, but he thinks he's the best at his club. You're genuinely not.
Yeah,
he would go to a bigger club. He would fail in a heartbeat because I don't think he has the discipline mentally. Yeah. I don't think they have the mental discipline, and it would be a joy to watch them flop at a big club. It would be an absolute joy. I would celebrate.
I think the only decision the Arsenal board ever got right, to be fair, was not paying 40 million for him, because it's I just don't rate him. I don't rate him. Apparently, it's his attitude. Well, you see, it's his attitude as well, but apparently he has got a major attitude problem as well.
I don't see.
Yeah, we saw it massively at Cardiff that as well when he was a youngster, and I'm just glad that we didn't take him on a permanent and that he ended up going to Palace. And he just, when it wasn't going right for him, he just completely gave up.
Down tools at United as well. You could see it as well. Like when he played for United, fair enough, he won the Charity Shield with us in the 2013-14 season. But what else did he do, really? Nothing. He got displaced by Januzaj, and Januzaj wasn't particularly great either. But you see something from Januzaj of mental maturity as he's went to Spain. He's matured as a player. I haven't seen any sense of maturity from Zaha.
You know what though, Reece? I'd have loved to have seen Zaha under Fergie. I'd have just loved to have seen, because he signed for Fergie, didn't he?
He could have thrived. He could have thrived under Fergie. So
I think he might have done.
I'm gonna ask you all to put your hands up for this one. Do you all think Southampton are going down? Hands up if they think you're going down.
I think the thing about Southampton, in that first half, they were in that game in the first half. You know, you seen what you seen from Southampton at the start of last season. They were pressing. I thought the press game was very good defensively. I thought defensively they were quite good. Adam Armstrong had a good debut. He looks like he could fit into that system alongside Che Adams or Borussia, who obviously they got known from us very well. I think the only reason why they capitulated in the second half was I just think their fitness levels weren't quite there. I think the second half you could see them starting to tire quite a bit, and then when you had Goodison Park starting to get in behind. When you had Goodison Park starting to get in behind Everton fans, and Everton starting more.
We are getting a few hands up. Keane Dolan's putting his hand up.
I don't think they'll get relegated.
No, I don't think they will.
I think Hasenhüttl will get so disrespected as a manager. I'm like, this guy could easily manage one of the top six.
I agree with that.
He easily could.
Quite easily.
But because he's lost Danny Ings and he's lost Vestergaard and he's lost Ryan Bertrand, he's automatically going to get relegated. Fuck off. Honest to God. Like, he is generally, I can see why people put him in the relegation zone, right? I can understand that. He's lost 3 of his best players. Potentially he might lose James Ward-Prowse, but I've seen clubs lose their best players all in one season before and not get relegated. So why should it automatically be Ralph Hasenhüttl?
Yeah. I actually think that the Southampton board buy into him as well. I think they buy into him, and I think they believe in the job that he's doing.
My only problem is they don't spend to back him. That's my genuine concern. Is they actually have got wealth. Why are they not using some to help him? Yeah. Why not?
The thing is, so I feel bad for him because he lost Danny Ings when he probably didn't have much of a choice in letting Danny Ings go, and he had no say over Vestergaard because he's got barely any time to get a Vestergaard replacement. And
Josh, also, mate, you're right there because they got rid of him a week before the frigging season started. If you're going to let those players go, let them go at the start of the bloody transfer window so that they can bring the players in.
I just think. I think Hasenudel's fight. He's fighting a very tough situation, but I think it was who said it. Reece Bish said it. There's definitely 3 worse teams in the league than Southampton, and Southampton should be in that first half. I think they'll be fine. I think it was just going away to Goodison Park, and then they started tiring, and on all the balls that everything kept put into the box. I think it was always going to work in the end, and I think Southampton will be perfectly fine.
I agree with that. I think long term as well, you'll see that pairing of Armstrong and Adams will come good. I think Armstrong's a very smart signing. We'll see where he comes. It'll take him a while to get up to speed. So he's not played in the Premier League for quite a number of years. He hasn't played there, so he'll get up to speed. I don't see them going down. I genuinely don't. Once they start clicking, I think Hasenhüttl will be owed a very big apology.
And let's be honest, the season didn't end on Saturday, Sunday, did it? It ends in May.
No.
Plenty of football. Plenty.
Absolutely.
They could still work up the table. They could still work up the table.
Absolutely.
Doug, can I just say, why did you sound so posh? Oh, no, definitely
not.
No. That's what Doug does, though. That's what Doug does.
So we'll quickly move on. I'm not going to do too much on these games. But very, very quickly, Burnley 1, Brighton 2. Very good away win for Brighton. Watford.
Very surprising.
Can I just make one thing? Graham Potter needs to shave that beard. It does not suit him. Get rid of it. It does not suit Graham Potter.
He's not shaving. I heard he's not shaving.
How about Graham Potter shaves his beard? You shave your mustache.
This is the part of it. I've had this for years. Graham Potter's never had a beard in his life.
But I must say, Watford 3, Aston Villa 2 was a very, very good game. I thought Watford played really, really well.
Villa, though, watching that game back, I mean, Villa looked so uncomfortable on that counter-attack, especially for the first 2 goals from Watford as well. Yeah. With Mings and Konsa at the back, just trying to find that position and then just getting played around. And they really need to watch out for this season. But
Nathan, to your point, this is the best thing to make. I think so. They had Jack Grealish, right? So you went from Jack Grealish on the left-hand side to then having a 39-year-old Ashley Young on your winger to replace him.
That surprised me.
Unlucky.
I see them clicking soonly. Once that team just bounces itself out, they'll click. There'll be a better team without Jack Grealish. There'll be a better team,
especially when their new signings get fitness as well. Then that is going to be a superb team. It just needs time, especially with a hungry Watford team coming up who played so well at the end of last season. We could sort of see it coming, but I think fair play to Watford.
I think the only cause for concern is defensive coach-wise. They don't have John Terry anymore. What are they going to do now? Because I think he was a good
they need a plan B.
That is pretty worrying. But I thought Villa. Watford overran them in midfield, actually.
They may not have John Terry, but they do still have Craig Spakeshire, who's an incredibly experienced coach, so I think they'll be okay.
Yeah. Is he related to Craig Shakespeare?
Yeah.
He said Spakeshire. I was like, what the hell is
sorry.
That's his new name.
So, obviously, Neil will be joining us very shortly. So we'll talk about Leicester Wolves in a wee minute. Norwich 0, Liverpool 3. I don't think anyone expected Norwich to win this one. I mean, what I will say, though, they did actually give it a wee go. Alisson had a double point-blank save from, I think it was Pukki, and then I think it was Cantwell, if I remember rightly. But yeah, comfortable win. Jota, Firmino, and Mohamed Salah becomes the first player in Premier League history to score in 5 opening day games. So very, very well done. And Liverpool scored their 8,000th goal under Roberto Firmino as well.
Just a quick shout there, Reece. I got that score correct in our predictions. So that's extra points for me.
Well, I'm surprised you actually got one right, mate.
I had a good week.
Nathan, same old Norwich, isn't it?
Yeah, same old Norwich. Could see it coming. They look so vulnerable in defence yet again. And that midfield still a bit. Yes, they have the likes of Billy Gilmore, Sargent, and just some quality in there, but it doesn't gel at all. It's not strong enough. It needs to develop, the style of play does not work for them at all. And they are going to be in for a long season. Yes, they play pretty football, but style of play means nothing in football, as I always say. And Pookie, he's not going to be scoring much this season at all. And they're going to play well in games, but they're not going to win games. So they're going to pretty much finish bottom of the league.
I'm going to have Norwich to have less points than Sheffield United last season.
I agree. I can see it happening.
Wow. Less points than Derby, maybe.
Possibly.
No,
I do not rate the prostitutes. I don't rate them. They're not the Canaries or the prostitutes because they're used to going up and down. I do not see Norwich surviving this season at all. And there's people that actually think they're going to survive the league.
They're absolutely crazy.
Based on
Josh,
what?
have you heard the latest rumour apparently about Gary Cahill potentially to Norwich?
Yeah, well, as far as I know, Gary Cahill is currently a free agent, as far as I'm aware, so it wouldn't particularly surprise me if that's the case. But the thing about Norwich is, we literally spoke about. We literally just spoke about, Leeds and Bielsa. Like Daniel Farke, now he's signed a new contract, essentially he's not going to get sacked. He's literally, has he learned anything? Is he a capable compliment manager in the Premier League? Why did he literally? There's just no game management. It's a young team. You need to help them away. But I just think they were far too open. And if they're going to play it, could we just say they're away to Manchester City next? They could be in for two very, very long.
Yeah, but okay. Would you not rather get those games out the way at the start of the season, though? If I was Norwich, if I was Norwich, and I look at every time, look, they have got an awful record against Liverpool. I mean, it is the worst. If I'm Norwich, I'm saying, yeah, get that out of the way. Let's take our medicine.
To my point, Dan, like it's fair enough getting those games out of the way, but if Daniel Farke's to go to the Etihad and attack them and lose 5-0 and lost 3 there to Liverpool, it's a really young squad. It's not going to do their confidence any good. And to start off the Premier League getting tanked and with low confidence in a young squad, I don't think
they played awful. No. They can take a lot from that performance. And as you said, they're a young side. They come up against the Liverpool side that, to be fair, how many positives come from that team? Watching the Ox play a game is absolutely brilliant because I rate Oxlade-Chamberlain. It's good to see him playing football.
To be fair, there is one thing I did miss about Norwich because Daniel Farke did say in his interview on Match Today that they had 12 players isolated from COVID. They did have a COVID outbreak, and a lot of players in the first team, so that could play a big part.
The only thing with Norwich, and it's the exact same thing that happened when they got relegated 2 seasons ago. They won't spend properly to actually back Farke to stay up, and they don't have a plan B. It'll be the same.
Do they have the money? I don't think they got the money.
They haven't got the money at all.
They should have something from getting promoted. They should have something. There's no excuse to at least put a bit of money in. But bearing
in mind, they've won the championship twice as well in the last 2 seasons. Where is this money going? I mean, yes, it's not as much as
probably
in the playoffs,
probably get spent. Their owner like jack off to his bloody yachts and shit, mate. Like they'll have nothing. They generally don't care.
Let's welcome our latest guest, Mr. Neil Mystery. How you doing, Neil?
I'm all right, lads. How you doing?
Yeah, good.
He's drinking his milk when they come into Leicester now. That's a fan.
Can we just please pay homage to Kian with the best comment I've ever seen?
Which one?
James, Simicast actually did okay. Had a few worrying spells in that game, but actually for a left back sort of cover, I thought he did very, very well.
Just before we move on from Liverpool, obviously I mentioned the 13-0. Liverpool won today, didn't they? Like a 4-1 friendly against Villa and some behind closed doors game at Anfield.
Origi, Neco Williams, Cade Gordon, and I can't remember the other one. That was.
Here's a genuine question. Here's a genuine question to you, Doug, right? Because I don't think anyone else will actually ask you this question. See, from that game against Norwich, was there any negatives in that game?
Other than the fan chanting at Gilmore, that was
yeah,
horrendous.
that was awful. That was awful.
What did they chant? What were they chanting? By the way, I had no idea. What were they chanting?
Like Rent Boy.
It was horrible. Yeah,
Rent Boy, I think.
Because he's living in English fans' heads. Brilliant.
Yeah, Jota's not a striker. I absolutely agree with what Leighton Molyneux says. I think Firmino is still the best option first up front. Mane was good. I thought Matip was absolutely fantastic. I mean, if you think Van Dijk hasn't been he has been out for a while, Matip for me, he's one of our best centre backs. I've said it all along. He is actually one of our best centre backs, and it's disappointing to see him. Disappointing to see him, get injured a lot. I mean, obviously Alisson. I suppose Trent. I mean, that was his first game back in the Premier League. Did get caught out a lot as well. Naby Keita is a big plus though, playing 82 minutes, I think it was. So. Yeah, I think it's a good win, but we move on to obviously Burnley next as well, so chance to get revenge as well. But Neil is here, so we're going to talk about Leicester City Wolves. It was a 1-0 win to Leicester City, and at 34 years of age, Jamie Vardy is still scoring goals. What did you make of the performance, first of all, Neil?
Overall, it was a 7 out of 10. There's still room for improvement. This team is still getting there. However, defensively, we were shaky in the second half. Really, really shaky. But they did what they needed to do. And bearing in mind, we've got Evans out and Fofana out now. So and Vestergaard's only trained for a day, and I think he was playing for the Southampton lot. He's only trained with them for 5 more days. So he's only had 5 days training with them, and then 1 for us. And he has told on to go, just shut up that back line. I'm so glad we've got him because we've needed height in the squad. We've been absolutely terrible from set pieces. But do you know what? I wouldn't sleep on Wolves. Wolves were a good attacking team. As soon as Jimenez comes back, and if Traore could hit anything, he hits everything but the goal, I think they'll be okay. But yeah, overall, it's a good performance, a good start. And yeah, I think it's a perfect result for Leicester City. Kind of going under the radar, get the 3 points, and then we'll just get on with it. We'll let the other people take the big headlines, but that's the end of the day. And we're building a good squad and a good team, so I'm excited for the rest of the season.
I think the biggest compliment anyone can actually pay Leicester is we kind of expect them to get these points now. Do you know what I mean? You look at them, you think they're going to get these points, and as you said, they labour to the win, which is brilliant. You can't win sexy all the time, can you? You do have to grind out these wins. And I watched them, and I was really impressed with Leicester actually. And Vardy's celebration, it was just brilliant.
I think
that's brilliant.
There is one scary. I think there's one scary way to describe Leicester now is even when Leicester play flat, they still outwork you. And that first. Maybe about 45, 60 minutes, they did look particularly flat. I agree with Neil, they were shaky. But even if they are flat in terms of not playing the ball quick enough, they're not attacking enough, it's still scary that they, like you said, they will grind out a result if they have to, or they will turn on, they will just tear you apart. Right, like I said at the start, like a couple of weeks ago, I thought they would still finish outside the top 4, because I think that's just a season too soon. But just the way they played against Wolves yesterday, even though it's still one game, I would not be surprised if they are still in the top 4 until at least the end of the season. I genuinely would not be surprised.
I've got one thing I have to say though, just about this game. How the hell did Adama Traore miss his chance? It was such a. It was.
I'll tell you how. It's Traore. It's Traore.
He's the worst winger in the league. He's the worst winger in the league.
George could have finished in. I'm sure George. I don't know when you last played football, but I'm sure you come up. You could have scored that. Like
George has 2 left feet, and he could probably still finish that better than him.
I was actually quite good at football. It has been quite a few years since I've played. But
would you like a Wolverhampton contract?
Traore was some of those mistakes. I mean, to be honest with you, you've dodged a bullet there because he was mentioned as a more budget option than Jadon Sancho.
We
last season, so.
were
Fuck, we didn't sign him.
Fabrizio confirmed we were looking at him at the start of the transfer window. Doug, I don't know if you've seen Ordeal. If you've seen the guy from Sweet and Sour, James, having a full-on rant on Twitter about it. That was really it was amazing to listen to.
I generally have no. When I watch Adama Traore, you literally that emojis where you pick up the popcorn. You just know what's coming, so you're like, popcorn's in.
Yeah.
He has no. If Wolves want to do better under Bruno this year, play that. I think that Trincao is a much better player, even though he's there on loan. Podence is much better. Padro Neto's better, and once they get Raul Jimenez up to speed,
Dan James is better.
I know that
says a lot. Than Traore.
I think the one positive from that game though is Raul Jimenez lasted 90 minutes. I think that was very, very impressive, and considering that he's had a big injury. Neil, were you a little bit worried about our Marty? Because I think he kind of lost the ball a little bit in that game.
Yeah, the thing is, he's a great bit part player. And he's not going to be he's one of them kind of players where you go, can you stick you in midfield? Can we stick one right back? Can we stick you in centre back? He's one of the few players that's remaining with us since we won the Premier League. I think everybody else has been rotated and changed around. Yeah. He's fifth when everybody's fit. He's fifth choice centre back, and that's what you got to remember. He wasn't the best. We know he's not. He's not the best player. However, he sticks his body on the line. He's not a top 4 defender, definitely not. But what he is doing is he puts his body on the line and he gets the job done. Yes, he gave the ball away a few times. However, what he was doing was backtracking, taking players out, managing the back line. And that's all you can ask from him at the end of the day. He's just steadying the ship until hopefully Vestergaard gets up to full speed. So then Soyuncu as well. And then you're playing a back 4. And with probably when you went Bertrand, because I think he was out with COVID as well. And Luke Thomas stepped in superbly at 20 years old. Unbelievable to give him a shout out. But when you've got Ricardo, who's defensively sound, Bertrand, who's defensively sound, Soyuncu, Vestergaard, that back 4 should be enough to keep most Premier League teams at bay. So I think that's the downside. That's the side that I'm thinking, okay, Amate can fit in there. We say Vestergaard comes out and we should be okay until other players come back.
Neil, do you know with John O'Shea, he reminds me, and Reese and George will probably back me up on this, that Amate, John O'Shea, does the exact same job that John O'Shea used to do for United. Was never really going to start for us, was never going to set the, but you knew when he was there, he did the job. And I think I think it is so important to have a player like that at your squad that can come in and fit in and just do those jobs.
He's not set anybody alight, but that's the point. And I think them people are really underrated. He's not making the brilliant runs going forward. He's not making he leaves the ball, and I mean, that's okay, but he's one of those players that when you're in the ground and some people, he has a fantastic 15 minutes and then he loses the ball and everybody goes, you see, I told you it was rubbish. And he's one of those players where you're like, well, if you're always going to get context, it matters.
You're going to get those comments. You're going to get those comments. I was trying to say as well, before Josh spoke, I generally had a question for Neil. It's like, do you think this is your most balanced back 4 or most balanced defence since the league title win 4 years ago?
It's the most balanced team I've ever seen Leicester City have, ever. And I'm talking about from the only place that we're lacking is right wing and potentially left wing. But probably we're going to change to a 3-5-2, so it doesn't matter as much. But we're still going to see Harvey Barnes play a lot of games. It's one of the reasons why I think we can get top 4. I know, Doug, I know you had a little bit of comment, but we'll definitely talk about that. But I think this season could be the season. There's lots of little things that have been sorted out behind the scenes that hopefully will push us into that top 4. No guarantee. Yeah. It's just my prediction and me believing in the team. But
so do you get
we've got a really balanced squad. I'd say we've got a more, but even compared to Liverpool in terms of players and positions, and especially Liverpool's injury record as well, that's going to be taken into consideration. But we've got a really balanced squad, which is frightening to see, because I keep saying it every time, but like, lads, I remember watching them in the Championship. You could have the whole road to yourself. And that to this team, I was speaking to Leicester fans, we're so grateful, but at the same time, we're like, this is a different team. This is not the team that I grew up supporting. It's literally leaps and bounds, and it feels like they're two different even the kits and everything are just, and the stadium and the expansion and the training ground. It's like, this isn't the same team that I grew up, and I love it, man. But it just doesn't feel like I'm just.
I think it's great how you've identified with that. I think it's great.
Neil, does it not just make you feel so thankful that run that you went on when Pearson was in charge to stay up? Just imagine if you didn't go on that run, would we be here now speaking about this? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? That's why we love
Exactly.
football. That's why we love football.
I think
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Just ask you, Neil, too, because I did see the development plans for the King Power Stadium today too. It looks like some incredible developments that they're looking to do with the King Power.
I'll bring it up for you, mate. I'll bring it up for you in a second. But yeah, they're developing the ground massively, and they're going to increase the capacity to 40k. Again, what they're doing is they're investing in it, but they're doing it slowly over a period of time. And it's fantastic to see. I'll try and bring it up now, but
just about on Marte very quickly. I lost all respect for him after what he did with the Chelsea flag after the FA Cup final. That really,
it's not really
pissed
that
me off.
But
no,
do you know? It's not, mate. It really isn't. I don't know if
on,
it's just me.
It's because it's
really
caught
not
on
that big a
camera.
deal.
It's because it's caught on camera. That happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens all the time. Yeah,
all the time. All the time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You salty man, you.
So
Chelsea fans do the same with Chilwell. They get triggered by it, and I'm like, what is the point? Why are you getting triggered by it?
It's just beautiful.
Neil, when he scored, I was just sat there going, please be offside, please be offside. And then as soon as it started, I was like, get in there. Because I hate it when players do that. Even though I just hated it. I was like, you twat. And then when it gets disallowed, I'm like, take your medicine, mate. Take your medicine.
Yeah. Well, it's like even when Iheanacho scored against Man City, it was like he didn't celebrate, even though it was an 89th minute penalty and he had every right to, you know. Again, he celebrated. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I know you're getting a bit of stick, and that's fine. But you're allowed to do what you want. But there's just some fan base, including Ant, I'm going to be honest, who doesn't like him after the way. But I was like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not bothered. Yeah. Like even with the Marte stuff, I know he's triggered, but I'm like, it's just a flag. If somebody that's what left the flag, I'm
silly.
Like,
it's silly stuff like that. It's silly stuff like that.
It's the way it's going. The way it's going.
I think this is Twitter as well. Sorry, it's just a bit of Twitter where look at Man City. They've not trained very much. I know you guys probably covered it as well. They lost once. And everybody is going fraud Guardiola and stuff like this dude just won. What are you on about? Like it's fine. So I don't like. Yeah. It's a beautiful way of just again. We've seen it with our own fan bases. Just one loss and the world all falls to crap.
Right, the last game I've left this to last because this for me was the game of the weekend for me. Newcastle United 2, West Ham 4. Now people say Steve Bruce is too defensive, David Moyes is too defensive. My goodness me, who predicted a 6-goal thriller between these two?
I had 3-2, by the way. That's how close I was. I said there'd be goals in this game.
George, Callum Wilson has obviously got number 9 now. Do you think he could actually get the goals to keep Newcastle up?
I think so. I mean, sort of bringing up a previous show when we did the predicted Premier League table, I had Newcastle quite far up. So I always feel like, as you said, sort of Callum Wilson, I think he will get the goals to keep them up. Obviously, Saint Maximin again was just I every time I watch him, I think, why is he still playing for Newcastle? I can't believe he's
their best player by a country mile.
Yeah. He's just absolutely ridiculous. It's like it's just phenomenal. Just watching him, and again setting up, got goal and just with some superb wing play, and he's an absolutely phenomenal player. And ultimately, I think Newcastle, obviously they got there was the comeback from West Ham in this particular game, but I think in terms of the entire season, which is what you asked, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, Nathan, Ben Rama and Antonio had a very, very good game, very, very clinical as well. Can you see West Ham benefiting from Ben Rama and Antonio being sort of like a partnership? Because those two were really, really good yesterday.
Absolutely. And I think this is the season that Ben Rama as well is going to come into his form after joining from Brentford last season, getting that 1 year and then building on from that. And with that partnership with Antonio, if he maintains that, especially with Lingard now gone there as well, and if they keep it up from what they had last year in midfield and at the back as well, then Newcastle could be a force to reckon with. But I don't think they're going to do as well as they did last year getting into Europe, but they will be there and around for it. Just Moyes has got to make sure that he keeps it consistent.
Hello to Rafael Suarez. I hope I've pronounced that right. Watching from Brazil. So nice to see some Brazilians in here. Here in Brazil, we think the Europeans don't care about the Club World Cup. Is that true? No. I wanted to win it.
United don't, because we're nowhere bloody near it anymore.
Yeah,
so.
I look at the European teams that go to the Club World Cup, and I look at like Bayern Munich when they went. I look at Real Madrid. They never once played their weakest teams. They played their strongest teams. I think they showed those games with respect. I think there's certain fans who don't give a crap because it's affecting their domestic season. But it's a trophy to win, and it's world champions of the club of club football. You want to be world champions, so
Liverpool played their strongest side.
We played our strongest side. We went in 08. When we went in 2008, we played our strongest team. We showed it respect. I think there's certain fans who don't give a shit, but I love the Club World Cup. I get to watch some great teams. I remember the Flamengo teams, like what a great team to watch. Atletico Mineiro a couple of years ago. I think it just depends on who you are as a fan. There's some fans who say it affects my domestic season. There's some fans who it's a trophy, go and enjoy it.
The only time I ever didn't, I was ever like, no, I don't want this. Was
2000.
When we didn't go in the FA Cup for it, because the FA Cup's my favourite cup in the world.
From a Chelsea perspective, because obviously we're in the Club World Cup this year, we haven't won in our history, so we all want to win it. The only thing I hate about it is in Japan this year, and the games are going to be like 10, 12 o'clock when I'm still at work, so I'm going to miss it. But Chelsea have not won in their history. We've lost in the final on our last 2 occasions in the Club World Cup, so we are absolutely determined to win it. So we will absolutely try and try and go.
Can I just say from
great question, great question.
Can I just say from like everybody wanting to say this, how good was the refereeing at the weekend? Obviously, we are talking about Newcastle, West Ham. Now, for me, the penalty decision, I don't think that was a penalty. I think, I think it's a very, very soft one. But I thought throughout the other games, I thought the refereeing was fantastic. They actually let the game.
VAR with United with Bruno's goal. I thought that was. We've been crying out for these decisions for the strikers to get, well, not the strikers, but the attacking players to get the benefit of that. And I think it was so good to see. I actually think this tails on from the Euros where it was dealt with so much quicker and it flowed so much more easier. I'm hoping that that's going to be what we see this year in the Premier League.
Yeah. Obviously, we did lose one of the greats of world football, Gert Müller, 75 years of age. Raith, obviously, I think, obviously, I know you watch a lot of German football. Very sad news, isn't it?
Yeah, I look at Gerd Müller as like Beckenbauer is probably the greatest German defender, greatest German captain. For me, Gerd Müller is the greatest German football player. With all due respect, I think he's an icon. Like he is an icon in football, and he was before my time. But I've watched his games back. I've watched interviews about him. Proper professional. God rest his soul. It's an absolute shame. There's certain types of goal scorers in the terms of world football. There'll never be another goal scorer like Gerd Müller. Honest to God, like you can say Lewandowski in terms of the modern game for Bayern Munich. One of the best.
Didn't he have the most goals in a calendar year until Messi broke it?
Yeah. He was. That guy set records for anything you could think of, and that's just what he is. And it says all just how crucial he was to break in the Dutch team in '74 as well at the World Cup. Like it was his goal that sealed the win. Like no greater man. Like he's just an absolute icon. Like, and the one thing that stands out for me about Gerd Müller, it's not his goals. It's not the trophies he won. It was his professionalism. Like he was an absolute constant professional, and he always worked well with the Bayern youngsters as well. When he eventually retired from football, he went back to Bayern. He worked with their academy teams. He gave helping their young players build themselves up, and that says all for me. It's an icon. He's one of my favourites. In my opinion, he probably is the greatest German player of all time. Beckenbauer right beside him, but. What a man, and rightly so. And 75 years of age, God bless his soul. I hope he's up there scoring hat tricks for fun.
Absolutely. We will definitely mourners lost. Bundesliga roundup now, and I have put on the title "Stupendous Sommer denies Bayern" because I have to say, the Bundesliga, the Bundesliga is back on Sky Sports, and what a fantastic first game! Borussia Mönchengladbach won, Bayern Munich won. Mönchengladbach took the lead for Alisson player. But obviously, Robert Lewandowski does what Robert Lewandowski does, and he scores as well. I mean, it's safe to say, Josh, that Yann Sommer had a very good Euros. He seems to be having a good start to the Bundesliga season.
I'm surprised that Yann Sommer hasn't been looked at from when you think about Real Madrid, Chelsea, when they needed a keeper. I don't know how this guy has not been looked. I think he's one of the most underrated keepers in the world. Never mind the Bundesliga or European leagues. He's always reliable, very little mistakes, incredibly good for Switzerland at every European game, if it's a friendly or a playoff or whatever. He's always very good. So Yann Sommer played very well. He's a big core. He's a big kind of core to the Gladbach team. He's always reliable. He's always done a good job for them. He's been a great servant for them. I have to say about Bayern Munich, though, I think there's two things about Bayern Munich. One, you could tell that Nagelsmann hasn't had very much time with his team yet to kind of get something going. They look they looked unprepared. Lewandowski looked quite unfit, but I think for Gladbach, you couldn't ask to play Bayern Munich at a better time and get one game out of Bayern Munich out of the way. So is it Jesse March? Is that your manager now, or is that that's Leipzig? It's the former
Adi Hütter. Adi Hütter is the Mönchengladbach manager.
He's the Frankfurt manager from Russia. That's right. So
he's nice Leverkusen.
If you were him, you would take that point within a heartbeat. You'd say, "Great, that's the perfect time to play Bayern Munich." And
should have been all three, but yeah, I'll take that point as well. Borussia Dortmund 5, Eintracht Frankfurt 2. I mean, Nathan, this game was end to end. I mean, so many chances for Eintracht Frankfurt. That's the one thing about Dortmund. They look open as well. They look like they're going to attack. We attack, you attack. So games in the Bundesliga are going to finish like 5-2s, 5-3s. But very good start for Dortmund, especially with coping with the loss of Sancho. And it looks like they've found a new talisman in Giovanni Reina.
Yeah, that's one thing that Dortmund do really well. They're not really. They're really a selling club, so they always just sell on their best players. It's going to happen to Haaland at some point. Obviously, going to Man United, probably going to Man City. Or maybe even a Real Madrid, but with Dortmund, especially with the problems they had last year, I thought they'd start to struggle at the beginning of this season, and maybe even struggle to get into the Champions League. But the way they have started off, is it under Marco Rose? Is that right?
Marco Rose, yeah.
Marco Rose. They look extremely good, and I think that if they keep this up and start to develop and gel like they have, and tighten up the defense a little bit, then they're going to be a way to go this year.
Oh yeah.
People go on about Haaland, but there's two players that I absolutely love watching for Dortmund, and that's Bellingham and Reina. I think they're just incredible. Yeah. And you know what? To see Bellingham just doing what he's doing, and also I don't know if you guys watch the Championship that much, but his 15-year-old brother was named on the bench for Birmingham.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, good Bellingham.
What a family! I was very lucky. I watched his dad play a couple of years ago, Bellingham's dad, and he was quality in non-league. But wow, it's just beautiful, isn't it, to see the footballing family coming through like this.
Obviously with the Europa League draw next Friday, Neil, you'll be hoping to avoid one of the German teams.
Oh, I forgot about that. Just reminded me. Yeah, that'll be interesting. We're in tier 1 for that one for the first time. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens in that. Hopefully, no.
Oh yeah, praying that you can actually go live this time.
Oh my god! So for context, Doug's done his channel, Champions League, record all that, fantastic. Get Doug on for this one, no problem, all ready to go. Click record on the StreamYard. There's an error. Okay, is the internet working? Check the internet, no problem. Right, okay. Click record. I was like, Doug, is it working? He goes, no. Turns out YouTube had died literally as the thing has been. It's so annoying. It was like the only time YouTube has died. I was like, so then we end up getting Slavia Prague, and we didn't really. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. No, it wasn't Slavia Prague. Oh yeah, it was Slavia Prague. It was the round of 16. It was around of 32.
They
literally
did a
YouTube,
number
I was
on
like,
you.
of all the things I thought it wasn't one of the biggest websites in the world dying.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental. So you'll be hoping that obviously next Friday, obviously fingers crossed for me, goes with.
How do you think I feel, mate? Like, how do you think I feel running the Champions League? I'm fucked. I'm like, out of all of us here, when it comes to Champions League, I am the most fucked human being on this planet. I'm completely fucked. I'm completely fucked. I got pot 3 and a pot 14.
But I do have to come to you, Reese. Mainz 1, Leipzig 0. Bad start to the season for Jesse Marsh.
Yeah, I actually watched the game back. I watched it, then I watched it back. Like, that's how bad it was. I just look at that and it just didn't start well, performance-wise. He wants to go through this double pivot system, which he won, obviously. He used it at Salzburg and he won the league with. Fair enough, but I don't think he's actually using the players in the right system yet. It could just be the fact it's just started the season. I just don't see it enough.
He didn't play a double pivot at Salzburg. He played 4-4-2.
He did use a double pivot at times as well, though. He predominantly was a 4-4-2, but he did at times use a double pivot, and that's what he's going with.
When he first started at Salzburg, but he's more a 4-4-2 guy. Well, at least at Salzburg anyway.
Yeah, he is more of a 4-4-2, but he seems to have diverted from that, and he's going from the pivot. Like, he seems to have gone with the pivot. But he did use it at times, like as a tactical system. He used the double pivot against Mainz. I can understand using pivot against. You can use the pivot against Bayern, use it against Dortmund, which are going to be very necessary teams.
I thought that's the best I've seen Mainz play for a long time. I thought they were really good against Leipzig. And actually,
they're used to getting smashed off. They're used to getting smashed off us. But they've turned it like.
And actually, they had a lot of COVID cases as well in their squad, so still very good to see.
Absolutely.
As a United,
I like what I see though. I still like what I see though in terms of it was only a 1-0. It was only a 1-0 defeat, but it's actually a good start. The fact that it's a gentle reminder, yes, it's Mainz. Yeah. And it's actually the fact that like you look into the game where there's still 33 games to go. Bayern are going to drop points. Hopefully Nagelsmann decides to leave that shithole of a club. Marco Rose, he's got an interesting job. He's got Dortmund. Hutter's got an interesting job in Mönchengladbach. This is what I think is going to be the top 4. If I was Eintracht Frankfurt, I'd be crying that they don't have Andre Silva.
I've just got some breaking news that came on from Madrid. Madrid's on the Twitter account.
Here we go.
That's a dead club.
No,
that's why. What are they tweeting?
This is from a guy called Jose Luis Sanchez. He's one of the best reliable journalists when it comes to Real Madrid. They have put in a 120 million bid for Kylian Mbappe, and Mbappe's handed in a transfer request.
Yeah, he's turned down 2 contract offers.
If his transfer window couldn't get any more crazy, we could be seeing Mbappe at Real Madrid by the end of the transfer window.
If Mbappe goes,
they didn't have any money.
Oh, they've got money. They're still buggered though. They're still buggered, but they've got a bit of money in there.
And apparently there's some news about Ronaldo going to be announced on that Real Madrid show TV thing tonight, but I don't know what that is.
Ronaldo won't go to PSG before any.
Imagine if it's the old Ronaldo
enjoys it.
The old Ronaldo.
Imagine.
I'm back. Come out, there you go.
I still think
Ronaldo.
I still think he'll stay at Juventus. Especially with the likely factor.
Mr. Dan, FC Köln start the season very well. 3-1 against Hertha Berlin. You'll be very pleased with that.
Well, I'm ecstatic, but as far as the team goes, hopefully you're praising the right one, because last time I tried to praise them, I praised the wrong club. I praised an English non-league club, and they were like, wrong teammate, didn't you? Because I was like, oh my god, they've tweeted back, and I was like, oh shit, shit.
Fucking nugget.
What a joke! No, it's good to see. I've got to be honest. I'm like Chris Kamara when it comes to Bundesliga. When you talk to me about that, I'm like, have they, Doug? Oh, I don't know. I must have missed that.
Red card somewhere. I thought it was going off for a water break.
Josh, did you any surprise results come out for you? I have to say, welcome back to the Bundesliga, Grutter, for 5-1 defeat to VfB Stuttgart.
Well, they're going down. I don't think they're going to stay in the league a lot. But anyway, I think one result that probably did surprise me is Union Berlin getting a draw against Bayern Leverkusen. I think Bayern Leverkusen have obviously lost a lot of key players, a lot of their key young players, and
good old Taiwo Awoniyi getting the equaliser.
I think they could be in for maybe a bit of a difficult season. Obviously, they've got a new manager this season. Don't know anything about them. Like, obviously, they've lost a lot of key players.
Bye, Casper, the ghost. What's a Ben Davis? Sorry, what is a Ben Davis? What is a Ben Davis? Sorry, carry on.
Is that the Spurs boy?
No, the Liverpool defender.
That shit heap. Oh. Why has he left a shit club and gone to Sheffield? Why?
But yes, I was surprised at the Bayern Leverkusen result. I was surprised that they drew against Union Berlin because they still got some good players. Patrick Schick, you got Demare, Jonathan Tah. Yeah, so they've still got some good players. I feel like Bayern Leverkusen's always been that team. He's always had really good players, but they never lived up to the expectation. But
yeah.
A weird team. Very weird team.
Absolutely. Let's go into the La Liga roundup because Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid and Barcelona all won. Neil, obviously, I don't know if you've been paying attention to Barcelona, and obviously with Messi leaving PSG, have you actually ever seen a club that is actually so much in financial trouble than Barcelona?
It's a good point.
I do,
also,
but I'm not
they're getting
anything.
away with it. I personally thought, to be honest, I thought they were going to just go, don't worry about that. We'll bail you out or something. The fact that Messi's left is actually a big statement, but also it's something that I didn't think would happen, to be honest. I just thought it's one of those things where, you go, there's all this media hype, and then just, everything's back to normal. Don't worry, some dudes just bailed us out. And then it's back to normal. The fact that they've actually had to sell Messi, and we're going to have to see about La Liga, because obviously, arguably, he's bigger than La Liga in terms of his following and how many players have gone over and stuff like that. So in terms of that, I mean, we will have to see the future. It's bigger than like Ronaldo leaving Real Madrid or potentially he's going back at all. But in terms of that, I mean, they're still a decent team, but they've lost that heart of the team. And I think
they have.
Maybe in one match you could say, okay, we'll get through. Give it until December, we'll see where this team is, because them boots, they're not boots, mate. They're massive swimming pools to try and fill, and you've got basically a watering can to try and pour in.
Is it over $1 billion? Is it over $1 billion in debt they are? It's come out today. 1.1.
Yeah, 1.12 million in debt, I think it is.
Or as I call it, a big box of crunchy nut cornflakes. They are going to be swimming in it.
George, will anyone want to play? Will anyone fear this Barcelona side in the Champions League?
Well, if Martin Braithwaite continues to play like
never know.
You don't know. I don't know what exactly he was on. He was amazing. He was sort of like again. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the season transpires. But obviously, Champions League wise, I don't necessarily think any team should fear them. I don't see Braithwaite continuing that exemplary form for the rest of the season.
George, for all we know, maybe he was just living a messy shadow the whole time. Maybe this is what he needed to expand his career, right?
Translate
living a messy shadow
in Danish, doesn't it, Braithwaite?
You know what though? You guarantee that Braithwaite was the guy at training when they were like, "Shit, Messi's actually gone." He was the guy going, "Guys, I've got this.
I actually
don't worry."
I have to say something. I have to I have to give a round of applause to Jared Piqué because Piqué took a massive pay cut. So Aguero, Depay, and Eric Garcia could be registered for La Liga season. He was the only player out of that whole team who led by example and took the pay cut. So hats
Not
off.
like
Can I
name?
just say Eric Garcia is absolutely awful.
So yeah, I don't know what's the hype around this guy. I also don't know what the hype is around Eric Garcia.
It's because he's Catalonian, mate. It's because he's Catalonian. He's got no talent. He's got no talent. Teddy Mendy's better than him.
But Barcelona is still over the wage bill, right? Even with
Messi. Yeah, they're still.
I don't know how they've managed to be allowed to sign players when they haven't met the wage bill in the first.
Don't they still own?
It's not.
Don't they still own Messi money?
But it's not PK's position.
They still owe Messi like 38 million quid as well, don't they? They've got to pay Messi 38 million for his loyalty or something like that. Brilliant.
I think they still owe Liverpool money for Coutinho as well.
Yeah. The Barca are so badly well run, and can I just say, Bartomeu, thank you so much for destroying Barcelona. You've made me happy after 2009 and 2011. Thank you. They are so badly run, and I said this all last year, and I've never diverted my opinion. Getting rid of Messi is the best thing Barcelona will ever do because that's 40 million. They can actually afford to go and spend it. Oh wait,
yeah.
Race, I feel bad for a guy who we maybe spoke about. I feel bad for Laporte because Laporte. But he's walked in. He's walked into the worst.
He's inherited a shit stool.
Yeah, he's walked into the worst possible thing
he was
ever walked into.
Let's not pretend like
he
knows. Who cares?
But he even said in this first ever interview he didn't realize how bad it was until he actually seen all the finances.
I think we got to feel sorry for Aguero because Aguero goes there being sold this dream about playing with Messi.
He's injured,
and Messi's gone. Yeah.
He's injured until November.
I can't wait to play with my best friend.
This is what I've said about Barcelona. Is Barcelona literally went away from what brought them to the dance like 16 years ago. Is they wanted to rebuild the club by going back to the philosophy of two-touch football. Yeah, they've abandoned it. Yeah, they've bid for Aubameyang, from what I've heard.
Yeah, but Reece, did you ever think that we would sit here and say that there are actually worse owners out there than the Glazers? Did you ever think those words would come out of our mouths?
Incoming Newcastle fans, they'll say Mike Ashley's the worst when they're talking bollocks.
He is. Did you see the stat today?
Terrible.
Did you see the stat today about the percentage of owners in the Premier League who rated who, and Newcastle were 3%.
They're so bad.
Who are these 3%? And they need to be kicked out of Newcastle.
Who are the 5.4% that actually don't like
Hull fans?
Your mourners
in Sunderland. Yeah, we were top of that. It was madness. And again, we're like, who are these 4.5%? Get them out of Leicester. Because
my concern for Barca is Barcelona literally looked away from the Galacticos find that Real Madrid were doing. We're going to invest all in our academy. We're going to develop a team, bring in young players. We're going to get the world's best young talent, add them to our squad year on year, and we're going to do it. The minute the whole beginning of Barcelona ended the minute they signed Neymar. And I am not knocking Neymar as a player here. That is not what it is. It's the whole Neymar fee. It went from there. It went down. They spent big on Dembele. They spent big on Coutinho. They spent big on Griezmann. And they've completely diverted from what brought them to the dance. And they've got no way of fixing themselves. And in all fairness to Barcelona, you're dead. Beautiful. Hopefully Real Madrid's next.
The West Ham stat's quite surprising because they normally hate their owners, don't they?
Yeah, 27%.
Golden Silver.
No, Brighton came out of nowhere.
How can they love that?
Really came out.
Nah, even worse. Wolves. They were in League One a few years ago.
But the thing is, I think we
were just talking
Man United
fan 1.1%.
Who are the 9.8 fans who love the Glazers? Sorry, what?
As well in the Premier League.
Crazy.
What'd you say, Neil?
Loads of things wrong with them.
What'd you say, Neil? Sorry, Neil, I didn't catch that.
Wolves have got the 5th most expensive Premier League season ticket in the whole of the Premier. It's like 500, 700 quid or something.
That's
just
the home.
Right.
It's really expensive, and considering you don't know what exactly you're going to get, because a lot of they're just in transition. It's a lot of money. And
I genuinely want to know why Man United and Arsenal are 9.8 and 8.9. They should be 0.
Yeah.
But imagine how bad it is if Arsenal and Man United are 9 and 10 and Newcastle are 3. They're 3 times worse owners. And these are eating your clubs alive.
It's so embarrassing.
How are Tottenham happy with blooming Daniel Levy? I will never know. Liverpool, 25%. I can understand. Liverpool fan base is very, very divided over the FSG.
Are you still FSG out?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm surprised about the Chelsea one. I'm surprised. Yeah. I was surprised we're not really high because what's the Abramovich done wrong?
I think, Chelsea should be up in the 90s. I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure about you. I'm not sure about you guys, right? But the only reason I think there's still some fans that like Daniel Levy is because he's stepped away from the football side and he's given the reins to Paratici.
I think you're right with that. I think you're right with that. As well.
He's done a good job.
Major problems. Major problems with Tottenham. I know they've just won at the weekend. The thing is, yes, they're getting the players in, but the corruption and all the kind of the bad stuff, it's like papering over the cracks. And same thing with kind of as Man United, as you know, with getting in Varane and Sancho. Sure, good 2 signings, but the problem goes all the way to the top. So you can't
still hate the parasites. Still hate them.
Yeah, but do you see what I mean?
They could go and get Neymar, Mbappe. I don't care. Honestly, God, they can go and bring Ronaldo back and spend like $1 billion on Old Trafford. I would still want the pricks gone.
Reece. Mbappe couldn't lace Greenwood's boots, mate. We both know that. Come on.
I know. I'm just saying. You could bring him in for what he is in terms of world football. Like he's an absolute electric talent. You could bring in Haaland. You could bring in fucking Kimmich as a defensive midfielder, the best in the world. I would still want the Glazers out because they're still poison.
Yeah. Quick question. Sorry to kind of interrupt. Like kind of with the Man City being 82, Chelsea being 75, obviously Liverpool being 54. Do you think that a lot of that has to do with the Super League? Well?
Definitely.
Yes.
1 million%.
Massive, mate.
Yeah, 1 million.
Definitely. But yeah, Real Madrid won. Atletico Madrid won at Celta Vigo, and Barcelona won against Real Sociedad as well. So we'll move on to in other news now. If anyone has seen obviously the French Liga started this week. Lille, who were the champions last season, lost 4-0 to Nice. The Nice manager is Christophe Galtier, who won the league with
Lille last season.
Who in the right mind?
I mean, if you'd escape working for Nice, you're not going to bother giving a report, are you? Because I mean, Christ almighty, it's a waste of bloody time.
It's just beautiful. That is like, you know, the troll football account that's on Twitter right now that trolls everything. Honest to God, you should just get him tweeting about Nice beating Lille. That would be absolutely beautiful.
Doug, I've got something else to add to your other news. So let's just see this now. Okay, are you ready? Right, this was a score. I'll put myself on full layout so everyone can see it better. This was a score in one of the Coppa d'Italia games, and they were free. and they were freed up within 21 minutes. And it ended 5-4. That's
gosh.
As a cup game, you couldn't get any better than that.
I just can't wait to see Giroud win the league with Milan, just to prove that he's still better than Arsenal strikers.
Also, in other news, Raith Rovers beat Aberdeen by 2-1 in the Scottish League Cup.
Aberdeen just can never do it in the cup, man. They bottle it so hard. It's not even fun. And by the way, Unai Emery just drew 0-0 with Granada.
God.
Sergio Romero got a clean sheet.
He didn't play any part in it.
He didn't have to play. He still gets a clean sheet. I still give it to Sergio Romero. I'm still giving it to Sergio Romero.
Them two names sound familiar. And I was like, oh yeah, I can make it to my name. But I didn't want to interrupt the conversation.
if Nice and Neil had a baby, they called Neil. That's Jesus Christ.
Oh God.
Right, guys, that's why you love me, Reece. That's why you love me on this program.
Get your questions in. We're with you for another 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll be.
I got a question for all yous this year. Actually, in terms of this season, Atletico Madrid will they win the Champions League?
No,
because I think they will.
No,
I think they will.
No,
I don't think they'll win the Champions League. I can see them winning La Liga again, though.
They'll win La Liga as a minimum. I mean, Real Madrid and Barcelona are nowhere near them, and the only team that's really strengthened is Atleti this season. But as a Champions League, it's an open book at the moment for me.
I've got Bayern Munich to win it, but I just see, you know what I mean? Like, I just look at the way they won the league last year. There's just something about Simeone. I think he's going to look at now's the time. Like, now's the chance where I can go and win it. I genuinely think they could win the Champions League this year.
I'm sorry. I just have to also add that I've just seen this in my time. I know not too many people care about the development squad, the Premier League too. But Arsenal's under 23s are currently 7-0 down to West Ham's under 23. So that's a good weekend for Arsenal. With
what do we think of Arsenal?
So they've conceded 9 to 2 London teams that aren't even in like the 3 best London teams in London.
I can't wait for the Man United under 23s to play them. We're going to smash them to pieces.
By the way, I think Liverpool's going to win the Champions League. Just to throw that in there.
Really?
What?
Really?
What?
I think Liverpool always do well in the Champions League. I just have a funny feeling about it. It's just I don't think we will.
Even into Jack Mac LFC. If I think that's meant to say Poch, if Poch doesn't win with PSG, then I'm done.
If Poch doesn't, he's fucked.
Then that's a proper job manager.
Did Josh just say the very sentence that made my? Did you literally just say Liverpool are going to win the Champions League?
Well,
can we clip that?
Can we ask why? Can we ask why instead of a gut feeling?
Yeah.
No. I just think Liverpool.
There's everything.
Sound of a man of confidence.
To be fair, we are a team that's actually built for cup competitions. But
oh my God,
it's
Champions League.
It depends. Your home form.
It depends.
I'm gone.
It depends on who we get. And it depends who we get in like the round of 16, etc.
I just want you to get AC Milan so Milan can beat you. That's what I want.
Well, I mean, that's next Thursday.
As long as Man United don't get them. Because I'm on the stream with you. If I have to see that group stage, I'm going to greet.
Reese, and George, if United get a CDM before the window's out, do we have a chance?
We win the league.
George was going to say no. George was saying no because of Ollie. I
think we've got more of a chance of the league, the Premier League, than we do of the Champions League, based on the fact of what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's
I knew he was coming.
Based on the game management is what I'd say. I think over a whole season of 38 games is better than in a close game in a cup competition in which you might have to change personnel, you might have to change tactics, and it remains to be seen whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can do that well in high pressure moments.
We'll see what in terms of what we get in the group as well. The group stage is important. I look at who we get from pot 1 and pot 3 will be interesting. Pot 4's so well balanced out. You got Wolfsburg, you got Milan in there. You could it's balanced out. I don't know, but the good thing is there's so many different types of teams. We should get out the group stage. There's no excuse.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
Yeah, I have to say, looking at the pot 2 is very, very lethal.
So, Josh, how well does Chelsea do in the groups, the Champions League this year? Did they get dropped to the Europa League and fail to win that?
Taking Real Madrid out of consideration, it's very hard. It's very hard to retain the Champions League. I think Real Madrid, with Ronaldo and Zidane, that was
Sporting Lisbon.
That was Sporting Lisbon.
Well, it's still something that's extremely hard to do. I don't know. I would love us to win it again. I think we'll reach the semi-finals and lose. I don't know to who. I feel like we'll do really well. But we won the Champions League last year, but I do want to focus on the league this year because we did the Champions League last year. So I want to go all out for the league this year.
Neil, how far will Leicester go in the Europa League? Do you think?
Win it.
Nah.
I think this is a lot of progress in such a small amount of time. And this is my thing where I'm like, I know I've predicted us 4th, but at the same time, I'm like, there's part of me that's like, we have a good enough squad to get 4th, but I'm like trying to balance all this stuff. I don't know. We fell apart last year in terms of playing such a small season in such a small amount of time. And then as soon as Europa League, we were playing game in, game out, players just started, literally hamstrings started going, massive injuries started occurring. And we were just going, oh no, we just got to hold on for dear life. And we were playing the same team in the Premier League and then the Europa League and Premier League, Europa League. And then by the time of the Arsenal match, we were down to, I think, the squad of like 13 people.
Just on that point, let's hope to God that we never have to see a COVID schedule like that ever again, because that killed the players. Absolutely.
Yeah. Genuine question for Neil.
For our small squad as well.
Yeah, genuine question for Neil when it comes to Europa League. Do you have a chance of winning it? And no, Liverpool are not going to win the Champions League. And I actually think you will get to. I think you could get the semi-finals in the Europa League. I actually think you could.
We can do, but the thing is, trying to compete on two fronts, I don't know. The thing is, overall, I want to see progression, and we've got sixth, we've got fifth, and it's a weird one. I think you can either do two. You can go for top four, or you can go far in the Europa League. I don't think we have the ability to do both, and that's the truth. So. Can we? Yes, we can, but I think it will take time and it'll take practice for us to. If we can maintain this spot and if we can keep building every season like we are doing, sure. But I think it's way too early to think we can go all the way in the Europa League without falling to 10th in the Premier League.
Yeah. And obviously, you are the holders of the FA Cup. Do you think you'll retain it? Like, how far do you think you'll get in the FA Cup?
I think we'll go for the Carabao Cup this time. As in, like I expected us to win the FA Cup. But it's one of those things, though. We'll have to see. I think that you could.
That's
see
usually
that,
Pep's toy, though, isn't it? The Carabao Cup. That's usually
someone's got to take
toy.
Someone's got to take it off them, because the Mickey Mouse Cup is no longer relevant. We need to make it relevant again.
Yeah. Well, so I'm going to ask you top six on playing. That's why, and then we can get some actual other people that can't actually have a go. Because after semis, it gets boring.
I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you all a very quick fire question. So, Josh, Arsenal, Chelsea. Will Chelsea end their horrendous run against Arsenal on Sunday?
Nope, we're going to draw. I think Arsenal are our bogey team. We can never beat them. I don't know what it is about Arsenal Football Club and Chelsea that we just can never beat these guys, no matter how bad they're playing.
Have you seen the capacity as well, that they've not sold any tickets to the Arsenal match?
You should do what City did. Put their tickets on Amazon. Maybe Arsenal will sell tickets.
Yeah, I just from what I think we'll draw. I'm going to go with a 1 each game, because Arteta will park the bus. We'll struggle to break down. They'll get some chance. They'll probably score like they always do, and then we'll get an equaliser. Then we'll end 1 each. If we win, I'm going to say this now. If we win, we're winning the league, because that's true. Because we've bet Bournemouth, Arsenal, and Spurs all the season.
You realise the season finishes in May.
Yes, I know, but
you realise you didn't beat us last season in the league.
Just checking.
No, because we've never been able to beat.
Lockdown's been tough, Dan. Messed everybody up.
We've never been able to beat Arsenal. We've never been able to beat Bournemouth. We've always struggled against Spurs, and we do all those things. I feel like this is the year where that's going to happen.
Josh, wait till we play in the league, then we'll come to that question.
Nathan, are you and your dad heading to any more away matches this season?
Yes. I think our next one is not until September now, because tomorrow at Peterborough, obviously, we're both working for the rest of the week, so we won't be able to go to that one. This week, we're actually at home against Millwall, which could be quite an interesting one. We'll say we have quite a good record against them, especially at home as well. But apart from that, it looks like September, Nottingham Forest, cracking our day out, that one as well. So can't wait for it.
At the second round as well.
Ooh. Yes.
Dan, Derby County under Wayne Rooney, will they get relegated?
No. I don't think they will. I don't think, and I'm not just saying it because of my love for Wazza. I don't think they will. I think there's far worse teams in the Championship than Derby.
The question is who, though, because from what I've seen from Derby this season, they have been utterly atrocious.
Okay, but they're 1-0 up against Peterborough. If they keep that win, they go to 4 points, and it's a great start for the season. I don't think they'll go down. And also, can I just say, it's so good to see Ravel Morrison playing again. And that,
that's crazy. What I mean?
It's so good to see.
Let me add to Dan's comment. It's good to see Ravel Morrison playing again with a positive attitude for once.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
He's obsessed.
Someone's in
the
trouble.
man is obsessed.
Well, that's Reese.
You know the rules. Every
Chinese.
Are AC Milan going to win the Serie A this season?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Nice to see you're on the fence, Aries.
Nice politically correct answer.
George,
well.
how far will Manchester United go in the Champions League this season?
Should be good.
I think it depends on the draw, to be honest with you. I think we saw last season with Chelsea, when they were on the easier side of the draw, we saw how much that can help a team. And I think it really does depend on the draw. So I don't want to commit to anything at this juncture.
See if we get a Man City draw.
Yeah, I don't trust Ollie in any sort of situation. I will say conservatively. In fact, let's just say we get out of the group stages because we didn't manage that last time from an almost unassailable point. I mean, yeah, I don't want to get into that again because that'll start me off again. But yeah, let's just get out of the group stages first. We'll see how we go.
I think we'll get quarterfinals and then see what happens. I think we'll get quarterfinals, to be honest.
Neil, are you planning to go to any away grounds this season?
I'm not sure.
Oh, Neil, you should have gone. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that would be much better. Ask me it again. It's live, isn't it? Damn it! Wait, can't edit that together.
This is why I'm pure original.
Maybe we'll have to see. I've not. Maybe I'll go with Ant's plan to go to quite a few of them, but like West Ham on a Monday night, I was like, that's too much traveling for
you should
Monday
go
night.
You should go to Tough Mermaid. See how happy you'll be.
Like, no. I didn't realize we're playing on Monday, so I was like, we'll have to see.
You should go to Turf Mermaid and see if it truly is the happy place.
And on that bombshell,
Doug, before you go, let's ask you a question. Do you think Salah will finish top scorer in the Premier League this season?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I think his numbers are absolutely astronomical. So I think he will do it. I think he's only 2 goals away from 100 Premier League goals and I think 159 appearances or something, which is absolutely incredible. So yeah, I am going to say Mo Salah will get top scorer.
Here's a follow-up to that one, actually. Here's a follow-up question to that. Should Salah be a number 9 for Liverpool, not a winger?
What, you think it's swap Jota?
No,
not
for me. Not for me. I think he's more effective when he's on the right. I think he is more effective on the right, but
he likes cutting in, doesn't he? He loves cutting in.
He does.
I just look at his instinct. He's so good.
Him and Mane will compete for that position too much. They'll run into it. They'll be in each other's face all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very, very much to all of my guests tonight. Josh, Nathan, Dan from Football Is, and That Is What I Want, Reese, George, and Neil. Absolute pleasure to have this lovely, lovely panel as well. Josh, anything coming up on your channel?
Yes, I've got an Arsenal preview with STV, Family TV. Obviously, donated to you. I've got him on for a preview. I'm on his channel tomorrow night for a referee preview as a referee myself, and I've got some very exciting. I won't going to say anything, but I have a very exciting and big guest coming on my channel some point this week, and also I'll have me and Reese's predictions.
I like how everybody's like, it's me.
I'll get you on the channel. I'll get you on my channel at some point, Dan. Don't worry. But as I said, I do some big Chelsea guests, and obviously I'll have my Premier League predictions for Reese. And I think I've won week 1, which is actually once. George, maybe you're just bad luck. I'm just going to stay away from doing predictions for you. But I'll have the golden show. I'll have the golden show with George on Thursday. So I'm a very busy man, but that's what I cherish on YouTube.
Nathan, anything coming up on your channel?
Yep, tomorrow night, first live stream of the season because I'm not able to go to the match tomorrow. So Peterborough versus Cardiff, 7:45. Make sure you check it out. And then on Saturday, probably say about 7, 8 o'clock, depending what time I get back from the Millwall game. So there'll be a vlog out on that one. So yeah, that's this week.
Dan, anything coming up on the Sunday social?
I mean, I've got to check if my camera bloody works. It's been so long since I've used it. To be fair, actually, Doug, I really appreciate you having me on tonight because you've actually because I haven't been doing much on YouTube, it's been nice to get back on, see what your fans are doing, and also talk to all of you guys. It's been really nice to converse and hear different opinions, because that's the thing that we love about this sport. If we all agreed about the same things, then it would be dull as dishwater. So yeah, no, we'll see what happens. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on, and also it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you all. It really has.
It's been good to see. It's been good to see you. That has been a long time, so it's good to see you're doing fair well. And please tell me you're still using that bike that we last seen you on, or whatever it bloody was. How did that go?
It's in the back there. It's been in the back.
I looked like I had horns before. Look at that. You've been talking, and I've been trying to move to not look like I've freaking got them.
Reece, you got anything coming up?
And kept it going, so then it's
constant
horns in the back. That'll be brilliant.
Have I got anything coming up? Well, let's see. I've got a big, massive sofa bed and a TV stand over there I need to build this week. Twitch, I'm coming back onto that. I've been saying it for ages. I've just been putting it off because I'm just contemplating decisions.
Deep. Very deep.
YouTube. Well, I am running a few shows at the moment. I'm pretty much everywhere. I'm just trying to keep busy. But we can't stand it, Hellboy. You've got more like casting him as a fucking Dalek or Cyberman on Doctor Who.
I'd take that.
That's just
good money.
Exactly.
You got to take what you get nowadays, Matt. You know that.
There is a few things coming up for me, but I'm just keeping it quiet because I want to see how things go first. But there are some things, yes.
George, thank you very much for coming back on. Yeah, you actually now feel part of the family of the World Football Podcast, don't you?
Very much so, Doug. Thank you as always for having me. Thank you to everyone as well. It's been a really enjoyable chat, and thank you as well to all of the watchers as well. They've, you see them in there, and they're always making such, lovely comments, and they help us sort of move on into topics as well. So thank you all for tuning in.
George, your voice is so calming. Honestly, you should do these videos when they're
ASMR.
Like, yeah, I'm telling you, mate. Honestly, every time you talk, I'm like this. Oh.
just to equal it up, and then it crackles, and oh my god, what's happening?
Neil, thank you very much for coming on as always. Anything coming up on Beyond the 90?
We've got an interview. We've got an interview out at the moment. We're trying to put out a few videos a week, but I've just realised a couple of days ago that we're playing on Monday, and that's really scuppered and buggered things up, to be honest. So we've got an interview on Wednesday. We've got our post. It was going to be a post-match review on Thursday, but that's going to be on Saturday now. But apart from that, we've just been looking into players and stuff like that. So keep an eye if you want Leicester content. Keep over. And again, just a shout out to all you guys, and thanks for having me on once again. And it's been great talking to you all. And yeah, shout out to everybody in the comments as well. It's been awesome.
No problem. Thank you to everyone who's watched, and we will be back same time next week. Take care. Bye-bye for now.